morning again. Welcome back to Business AM. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. I'm excited right now because not excited as of happy. I am actually excited because I'm about to tell you exactly what's going on in the economy right now. This morning we have three major headlines that we're looking into the economy that are affecting the way in which you are doing your business and how you're going to fare on as we keep on trying to find our way within the 3.02 trillion shillings budget for 2019-2020. What role are you playing? Are you feeling a bit touched? Are you feeling priced? Have the taxes started biting the returns that you're making? For those guys who are betting, are you receiving all the money? And is your betting company working? Those are the questions there for this morning. I am joined by Mr. Washington Ndegea, Chairman, Bima Intermediaries Association of Kenya, and this morning is a man who understands the economy, so why not have him in the studio? Mr. Washington, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I was telling you, it's a very interesting country that we have. We are lucky and both unlucky to be in Kenya. But either way, we are Kenyans. We have to live in it, isn't it?
True.
All right. Let us therefore cross over straight to the first story that we have this morning. Good. Now, a 2 kg packet of, we're talking about the maize saga that is in the country. Now, a 2 kg packet of maize continue to rise from the current 120 shillings to 150 in the next month, as warned by CS Agriculture Kiunjuri. Now, the discussion is still at cabinet level, and this will make it difficult for millers and traders to import the commodity. So now, what's next for our ailing agriculture sector? All right. Now, Washington, I just want us to look at the story that is exactly going on within the Food Reserve Board and the CS Agriculture Kiunjuri. All right, let's cross over now and take a look at what is going on in the agriculture sector as we speak right now. Richie, give me the story, man.
The country has adequate maize in store is raging. This is coming at a time when the government is preparing to open the import window for 12.5 million bags of maize, out of which 10 million bags will be for human consumption. But the National Strategic Food Reserve is not in agreement with this decision, saying there is no reason to warrant this.
So it's not true to say that National Cereals and Produce Board there is no maize. The maize that is there is 760,000 bags, which we offered in May, and of course, along with that, we have 2 million bags, including what we bought this year. So, in total, we have about 2.8 million bags yet to be consumed, yet to be sold to the millers. So if you look at those figures, then you wonder why some people are saying we do not have the maize.
That position has been supported by legislatures from the North Rift, who say there is enough maize to sustain the country's food requirements.
The same farmers have been asking for good prices. They've never been given good prices. Nobody, the only person in Kenya who does not say the price of their commodity is the farmer, because they are not given an opportunity to give them the cost of production. And when they give out the cost of production, they are told it is very expensive or it is very high. Yet they are able to import at the cost or at the price that they are given or they are told to import at. So I don't know whether we are there to protect our farmers or we want to protect farmers from other countries.
But in a swift rejoinder, the Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri insists that the planned importation of maize is necessary in order to cushion Kenyans against higher maize prices. Kiunjuri has termed the statement by Dr. Wekesa as reckless and amounts to insubordination. He said, and I quote, "Anybody that would like to issue a statement on maize imports cannot do that because the ministry has the final say. The ministry is the voice of the government when it comes to food situation in the country. Any other organization has to get information from the ministry." He went ahead to say, and I quote, "He has no courtesy for the PS and the CS and has shown no respect for the last 2 weeks. Nobody has authority on the food situation in the country except the ministry. I do not know where he's mastering the courage to attack the ministry, not unless there is a force behind it. Wekesa can only talk after getting the right information from the ministry. If he wants to play politics, so can we." End of quote. The SFR board is scheduled to meet President Uhuru Kenyatta next week over the maize issue in the country. Statistics from Metropol's Harvest Terminal shows that 2009 and 2017 are the years in which Kenya's maize imports spiked, with 2017 having been an election year and 2009 coming a year after Kenya experienced a post-election violence and diminished agricultural productivity. Now, importing 12.5 million bags of maize or not is a question that many want the Ministry of Agriculture to answer, but in the meantime, the Strategic Food Reserve says it will not be agreeing to importing the maize this year, and if the government has to import maize, then it will only be 2 million bags of maize that will take the country to the next harvest season. Victoria Amunga for Metropol TV.
An interesting country. It is very interesting. So let's just first start with the basics of this conversation. What do you make of Kiunjuri remarks to Noah Kesha?
Well, it's a little bit interesting.
Isn't it?
Because Wekesa says there's enough grain reserves in the country. The CS Agriculture says otherwise.
Yes.
Both of them are in the government.
Both of them are in the government.
So who are we supposed to believe now? Because at the end, you see,
yes,
I tend to believe this country definitely has a maize shortage. Remember the Gurana Kularo scheme?
Yes.
And the fact that it failed to produce, it was repeated to actually meet our grain reserves in this country. But as we speak right now, it's collapsed, right? So the farmers are also having a lot of hue and cry in the Rift Valley.
Yes.
The country's food basket. The fact that even maize is even rotting in the farms.
Yes.
The government is not getting the maize from the farmers and storing it in the National Cereals and Produce Board?
Yes.
You know? So I think there's a lot of mishandling of the maize situation in this country. It looks actually like an artificial shortage, so to speak.
Yes.
You know?
So when you look at these two bodies, we have the Ministry of Agriculture, we have the Food Reserve that is supposed to advise us on exactly what our state is like, but it's not the first time that we've seen these two gentlemen go at each other.
That's
Yes,
right.
Kiunjuri says, we do have enough.
That's right.
Now Wekesa says we don't have enough. Now Wekesa is saying we do have enough.
Yes.
Yes, Kiunjuri says we don't have enough.
That's right.
These are two statements that have changed over a course of time. When you expect that these two should work together.
That's right.
To sort of give us that food security protection that we need in this country.
That's
But
right.
it's neither here nor there. Why are they fighting?
You see, Simba, I think there's a lot of also controversy and a lot of murky information coming from especially the maize sector.
Yes.
There's all these issues of there are people who have vested interest, I think, in the maize production in this country. There are people who want to import maize,
Yes.
regardless of whether there's enough in the country or not.
Yes.
You know, those cartels, you know, you have those cartels that would like to import maize. So what exactly is Wekesa trying to tell us? That there could be enough grain reserves in the country, but people still want to import. Is it the CS is insisting it's not enough so that the cartels can import?
Isn't it? Uh-huh.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it the case? Because you have seen things being mishandled in this country a lot.
Yes.
As far as corruption and as far as the agriculture sector is concerned. We have maize one time, we have sugar the other time, we have schemes actually being run down.
Yes.
You know, like the maize, like the sugar industry has been run down.
Totally.
You know, it's almost deliberate.
Yes.
You know, the point is, could we be talking about the same thing also with maize? Could it be that even the scheme, the scheme was global billions?
Yes.
There's no production worthy of. I was looking at it the other day, the ground rail scheme, and they should have gotten it straight by now. And even the fact that it was an Israeli company that had been contracted to do the same. Israelis are known for serious business, serious farming business, you know, in the world.
Yes.
But the fact that they came and failed, what exactly are we heading to? And what are we missing here? That could be the question.
All right. So So now every Kenyan who's watching this conversation will say, we expect that the unga prices will continue to go up, because there's this warning that if we don't make an adjustment to whatever it is that we have right now, we could see it going up to 150 shillings. Now, if you do a spot check, you're going to realize that most of them are buying it at 121 in Nairobi or 124, which is touted to go all the way up to 150 if we don't. That's what the CS is saying. If we don't import, then you're likely to find that we're buying this at 150. The Food Reserve Board is saying, no, we don't need to import. We have enough. They're saying we have 2.8 million bags that we're supposed to use right now. Is it not okay, instead of these two gentlemen fighting, because the president, as we know, the CS is going to meet him, expects them to consolidate their reports and table it. But as it is right now, it is going to get 2 reports. What do we expect, sir?
That's a very interesting question. And also a little bit, what can you say, controversial?
Yes.
Because you see, who are we going to believe here?
What we believe in.
Who are we supposed to believe?
But the constitution tells us believe both of them, because they should be working together, isn't it?
That's right.
I mean,
they're both in the government.
They are not in business. It's not like the Food Reserve Board makes business. It's not
That's
like
right.
CS Kinjuri makes business with the ministry.
That's right.
They're supposed to make sure that the ministry works fine, isn't it?
True.
So why are they fighting, sir?
Well, like I've just mentioned.
Yes.
Why is it that there's always these issues of corruption?
Yes.
Especially as regards the agriculture sector. Why is this issue, Simba, whereby people love importing stuff
Yes.
in this country so much? This country is not about production. That's the saddest thing about this country.
And I want to ask you this question. I don't know whether you're going to answer me the way when you answer me. I've spoken to a few analysts here on Business AM,
Yes.
because we keep on dealing with this issue year in, year out.
Yes.
Is it time for us to stand now and point a finger at this CS Kinjuri and say, maybe things are not working out, sir? You need to put your house in order.
Well,
Because even the president has pointed a finger to him.
Yeah,
He said, I don't want to say this. Get your house in order. Is it time for us, therefore, to say, maybe, sir, let's look at somebody else to come help us, because the way things are going,
maybe, what can I? Well, the president knows better.
yeah, the president knows better.
He knows why he's retaining him there. You see?
All right, Washington, I just want us to move to the next headline this morning. A bit contagious as well. Now, at least 27 betting and gaming companies are living on borrowed time after their licenses were cancelled following findings by the multi-agency board. All betting firms were supposed to have had their licenses renewed by July 1st. One of the big companies on the list, Betting, whose license the Betting Control and Licensing Board refused to renew. A Geopol survey released in December last year noted that 40% of the low-income gambling consumers are unemployed, while 29% are students. What next? Now, this morning we have Safaricom writing to the license to the gambling bureau, telling them, look, you need to be clear. Are we supposed to cancel these accounts, because some of them already have deposits? All right, and guys are betting. FCON is on. 27 of them. But I want us to go back to this number. It's just last year they realized that this was a 200 billion industry that only gave us 4 billion in terms of tax returns.
That's right.
So this morning, and we've seen a lot of things thrown at them. That was the other bill that now says if you gamble with your phone, you are supposed to attract a 10 million fine. You cannot advertise online as well, which we've seen others getting challenged. Betting the other day, the High Court overturned the BCLB move to cancel their license in the country. Are we saying that we can't bring these betting companies together and then streamline a working formula for us to coexist within the economy? Because Kenya is the 3rd largest market for betting companies in the country, and now after South Africa, which is the leading. Isn't there a proper way? Because what we're saying is we can't get you, whether you like it or not.
Well, there's one thing about this country and the way things are done.
Yes.
Betting has been very, very liberal. there's been almost very little control. Remember, these betting companies just came into this country just the other day.
Yes.
I don't think it's over 3 years ago.
It's actually over
You know?
3. It's just a couple. You
Just
say 4. That's
maybe.
when they're really starting to take hold of the
That's
market.
right. That's
Yes.
right. But and you see, it's become a pastime for the young people in this country.
Yes.
You see, and what I feel is this. You see, by the government not licensing these betting companies,
Yes.
they're supposed to have started being licensed as of July, the 1st of July.
Yes.
Right? As we speak, the government has withheld on the licensing.
27 of them.
Yes, it has also refused to accommodate any more betting farms into this country, right?
Yes.
Number one, there's something very, very important you said. These betting companies have made billions, but the remittance to the
Yes.
treasury is very, very little.
Yes, but Washington, in the 2019-2020 budget, it's now
Yes.
within that. They're
Yes.
supposed to get tax on winnings and withholding tax. Is that not a better way to go, therefore? Get the money, whichever way you can.
Well, you see, there's one thing I understand about the economy
Yes.
and about betting. They are given some very, very heavy taxes.
Yes.
The betting companies. I mean, they're being taxed more so that they can give out more money to the treasury.
Yes.
For development. Because you see, even betting companies, it's also a way of mopping excessive liquidity in the economy.
Yes.
You get it? Why do you have to mop excessive liquidity in the economy when you want to control inflation? That's just a part of it. Now, look at this. Why is the government actually even not allowing any more betting, not even renewing their licenses?
Yes.
I looked at that story and I found out that most of these betting companies are actually not even owned by Kenyans. You know? Most of these betting companies are owned by foreigners.
Yes.
And what happens is this, that billions generated through betting companies are actually taken away out of this country.
Yes.
They're not floating around. That's money that has been removed from this country and is gone. So we have about 204 billion that's been made, but it's only 4 billion that has
we're
come back.
actually experiencing,
Right?
isn't it?
Right?
Yes.
Because these betting companies are not even, they've not been registered in this country.
Yes.
They've been registered in tax havens. So these tax havens are those that are getting all the money from this country and away.
Yes.
And I don't think that's a very, very good way of
Yes.
running the betting companies. There should be a lot of Kenyan interest, so to speak, such that if you're a director of a betting company, because you find that the directors of the top 3 betting companies in this country, the Kenyans who are directors there don't even have any shares.
Yes.
The foreigners are the ones who are owning all the shares.
Yes.
So what's happening is that the money that is mopped in, that the betting companies are getting in, all goes.
Yes. But I've noticed this, Washington, is that shouldn't we therefore tax them further and further, sort of milk them to the point where we are saturating them out of the market if you don't want them to be there, as opposed to saying 27 of them, licensed, isn't it? And we have now job losses that we're talking about for Kenyan people as well. We are talking over 5,000 Kenyans who are running into unemployment if we don't license these betting companies. Is that another side we should look at?
Well, that's what can we say? That's between like the devil and what?
Yes.
Between a hard rock
and the devil.
Because you see, what you're talking about here is if you tax them further, right?
Yes.
Maybe you can even tax them out of this country.
Yes.
But the point is this: what about our youth?
What about our youth?
They're still betting, or they're still hooked onto this. You see, betting. The major disadvantage of betting is that it's addictive.
Yes.
That's what they're saying. So you find, I've met some of these guys, very young guys. They work with one eye on the phone. You see, they want to see if they've won.
Yeah.
And every little break that he has,
Yes.
he goes back to the phone and he makes a further bet. That's during the day, right?
Yes. Yes.
And in the evening, they're going to tell you, oh, today I won about 5,000 shillings. And he goes and drinks it.
Yes.
Then the cycle starts again. Now, is that the kind of thing that we want for our youth?
Yes.
You see? That's, so to a certain extent, It's not even about the money, the taxes that the government is getting.
Yes.
But capturing, saving our youth, so to speak.
Yes. Now, Moshindo, just a quick response on this as we close this conversation. In your picture, in your mind, how do you envision a proper betting environment in this country? What should really stand out in that picture that the government is trying to paint for us?
Well, I think what we need to do,
Yes.
I think we need to take all factors into place, right? Especially for our youth. We need to come up, I'm not an expert on betting,
Yes.
but I think this industry is not regulated the way it's supposed to be regulated. We need to look at who's supposed to bet. Maybe even put an age limit onto it. You know? You see, if you're not over 35, you cannot bet.
Yes.
You know? Why can't we have proper, I guess if it was properly regulated, because, well, the government needs money from betting in form of taxes.
Yes.
You know? If it was properly regulated, I think it would be a better way of doing it instead of delicensing these
Yes.
companies.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's my take.
That's your take. All right, join me Monday, that is for 1 p.m. news, as I give you a history of where the problem started for the betting companies in this country and also what the government has tried to do to streamline the betting companies. I tell you, this is an interesting conversation. It'll never stop, will never stop. If not though, do you find these numbers conflicting? The government says 76% of the youth in the country are into betting. Take 76%. That is more than half of the Kenyan population, which, as you know, stands more than 40 million, isn't it? The other numbers, 7 million Kenyans are into betting. So which numbers do we believe? That's another thing I'll be highlighting Monday as well, which shows you the government will push whatever way possible, whichever way possible, to make the betting environment in this country tick to exactly what they want it to be. All right, let's move over. The Capital Markets Authority gave the Nairobi Securities Exchange the go-ahead to launch and operate the long-awaited derivatives market, setting the stage for introduction of new products this year. Derivatives are an investment tool whose value is derived from an underlying asset like bonds, commodities, currencies, interest rates, market indexes, and stocks based on the expected future price movement of the asset. Now, CMA said it's banking on the future market to deepen Kenya's capital markets, where turnover and trading activity has remained flat in recent years. Let's leave it there. Some of the biggest challenge of NSE is attracting liquor companies to get listed, isn't it? We've seen a lot of drives by NSE to get companies on the market, but they're saying by introducing new approaches of getting the companies on NSE. We've seen a couple, but they're not still there, because if you look at the number of companies that we have in the country against the ones that are on NSE, it's a good, big, wide gap. But other than that, now NSE says we need to introduce a second product of its kind on NSE as we try to look for wealth on the booze. Now they said, let's introduce derivatives, which is dubbed next. The next big thing, we like to call it so. Given the challenges that we're already seeing NSE going through in terms of attracting companies, given the fact that majority of investment on NSE is actually foreign,
That's right.
and given the fact that this is just a second product of its kind, and NSE is not the biggest market in Africa, we do know that, would you say that this was a jump too soon or a better way to start chatting more ways of attracting wealth into NSE?
Well, the derivatives, the getting NSE to deal in derivatives.
Yes.
Didn't start yesterday. This is something that NSE has been thinking about for the last, should be about two or 3 years.
Yes.
2 or 3 years ago. But now they feel that they need to open the market, so to speak. They need to start dealing in futures.
Yes.
You know, and just like you said, it's a way of attracting capital into the country.
Yes.
Because now it allows foreign investors to come into NSE and invest into the locally owned, the locally held companies in this country. As long as they are listed here, well, as long as the company is listed at NSE now, you have the issue of investors coming. Well, it's good for the country because it gets in capital. It also, if a company wants to get more capital, if it can't get the capital from the Kenyans, so to speak, if they
Yes.
cannot buy the shares,
Yes.
let the foreigners come in and buy. It's also good. I mean, at the end of the day, the more money that we have, the more people we have investing in this country, of course, the better it is for the economy. You know?
Yes. Washington, I am so sorry, man. I'm getting told that we've actually spoken for 30 minutes already. Wow.
It's very fast, yeah?
That's the way it is. All right. I would like us to take this conversation offline and online. It's the first time that we had Mr. Washington in the studio. Guess what? He's coming back again. I promise you that. I'm going to try to convince him. Good. All right. So we can now have more time to delve into these issues of note, though. Betting, maize issues of the country. They are not going anytime soon, and we shall be on them. We're going to take a short break. Once we come back, Metropole Sector Trends. We are online. Hashtag BusinessM, YouTube Live. You can get us there. Let's take the conversation online. Any question that you have about Next, we shall be pushing those questions to Mr. Washington, and he shall respond to them as soon as he can get them. I promise you that. Let's take a break.